good afternoon, Richard. How are you
Hi,
today?
Fiona. I'm very good, very good. Nice to see you.
Uh,
It's been a while.
it has actually. I think the last time we saw each other at Zoom was obviously when we did that amazing graduation for the aspiring managers. What did
Yeah,
you think of that?
I thought that was great actually. I thought it was really good, and the team really appreciated the fact that we pulled that together, even though we were all furloughed, and it made them realise that there was life after furlough, and it was great. And they've reacted since so well. They're so motivated. So it was a fabulous thing to do. So thank you for steering us that way. It's a great
Oh,
cause.
thank you, Richard. I
Mm.
think it was really good actually because I think it's our sort of first main Zoom meeting, wasn't it? And to graduate, when we gave a little cheers with a glass of something, that worked out really well, didn't it?
I know. Life before Zoom, I can't remember it. It's really changed our lives, hasn't it? Thank goodness for it.
Yeah, no, it is good, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, Richard, thank you so much for your time today. I mean, I've been working with you for many years now, and I'm not just saying this, it's a delight working with you and the team. Thank you for joining us on our Storm Pod.
Well, thank you, Fiona. You've made such a difference to our business. I can't tell you. So I think when I said I haven't seen you for a while, I meant I missed all those training sessions and all that stuff you do for us, and can't wait to get back to normality in so many ways. And that's one of them.
Yeah, that's so true, so true. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. I was going to ask you at the moment, and we spend a lot of time, as you know, when we're together there, chatting about your leadership style. And I was going to ask you, how do you find at the moment you're leading your business and of course team?
Yeah, well, I mean, these are unprecedented times, aren't they? I mean, I guess that's a little bit of a cliche now, but you almost can't say it enough because this is just so strange, isn't it? This is so strange, and it's not something you can look to others for and see what happened before. You've just got to find your own way through this, and it does make for quite tough times. I think as a team, we've been through, like everyone in the hospitality business, we've just been through 4 or 5 weeks of great difficulty. Closing a business is not easy, and even the run up to that, all the what ifs and the dealing with cancellations and where are we going with this. I think it's been quite stressful. Um, in many ways, actually, now we're through that. There's a lot of thinking to do. There's a lot of reshaping to do. There's a lot of forecasting to do and working out where we're going to go with this and how it's going to work out. But I think the team needed a little bit of time to recover and regroup. A lot of them need to look after their families. A lot of them are having to self-school and look after what's going on at home. So I've kind of been happy to take the foot off the gas a little bit, actually, and let everyone just recover and regroup and adjust because this is difficult. So I think they need to adjust and regroup. But clearly there is a lot of thinking about the shape of the business and how it's going to be. I'm really keen that we don't allow ourselves to take knee-jerk reactions because that would be very easy. And we need to think very carefully about where we're going to go with this. So we're starting to turn our focus to that more and more. I think communication is just so important and it's quite tricky, but thanks to Zoom, we've really been on that. We were really lucky actually in that we took on this app, which you're aware of, called Beekeeper.
So good, so good.
Just before all this happened, and it enables us to communicate with all our teams very easily and in a really fun way. And honestly, I don't know how we'd have managed without it because we are keeping this raft of communication going at every level. And some of it's fun, some of it's important, some of it's necessary, but it's all keeping us together as a team, and that's really important. So I think the communication is something I'm really trying to keep on top of. And I think trying to encourage everybody to use this time to refocus and do some self-development. There's lots of negatives about having all this time, but there's also some huge positives. And I hope that our people will look back on this time and think that they've used it really well. They've managed to reset and develop themselves and come out of it stronger and ready to face, however the business is going to be, because it's going to be very different.
That's so true, Richard. It's so good because thank you. That gave us such a great overview there, and thank you for letting me be on Beekeeper because I'm really enjoying it. And like you say, it's used really well, actually, isn't it?
Yeah,
It really has been embraced, and it's a great way for everybody to know what's going on.
yeah, no, it's fabulous. So
Yeah.
lucky with that.
And of course, what you've just linked there is great, because you're putting your energy into lots of things, isn't it? And I know also you're doing a lot with the local community as well, isn't it? And it's sort of trying to get that balance. So I know the team are
Yeah.
doing various things, and I know there's some people still based at the hotels, aren't there? But what sort of things are you getting involved in with the local community?
Yeah, well, we were keen from the start to try and find a path to help in some way. And I say we were keen, I mean the whole team. Lots of people expressed uh, the wish to get on board with this really wonderful, heartwarming drive to support the NHS and to appreciate them, which is such a wonderful, positive thing that's come out of all this. And the team were really keen to get engaged in that. And Richard Davis, who you know is our executive chef, he started phoning the councils and finding out what we could do. We've got kitchens, we've got people willing to cook. What can we do with that? And he stumbled across this wonderful system of volunteers that's set up, and all we have to do, all they have to do, is cook. And there's this amazing team of volunteers who pick up the food from our doors and distribute it to an existing list of people who are vulnerable in our area. And they're cooking, I think it's 600 meals a week, going out in little containers through this wonderful network of volunteers. And it's terrific, you know, and it's helped bond the team. Um, it's great to know we're helping the community. It's making us feel good about all this time. And it's a great thing. I'm so glad we have the chance to do that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you, Richard, because I know you've been doing lots of things, and again, you're very humble about that. But I know that all those great things are going on, which is fantastic. I'm also going to ask you about, obviously with my learning and development head, and I didn't want it to be too cliche, because a lot of people are saying, oh, what have you learned from the time and everything else? And
Mhm.
like you said, we still don't know entirely what it's going to be like, but I'll ask you more about that. Is there
Mhm.
anything particularly you feel that you've learned that you want to make sure you continue when they're calling it the new normal, aren't they? Is there
Yeah.
anything you feel you've really learned that you want to keep and keep that on board when we go forward?
Well, it's interesting. I think what's really hit me, really has, and I find it quite staggering actually, is some of the unbelievable commitment from the team. We quite a few who are still working. They're looking after the properties. They're looking after the maintenance. They're keeping on top of the admin. And there's a group of people who just do not want to stop working, and it's nothing to do with personal reward or gain. It's just this. Well, I think it's two things. Part of it is this really warming commitment to the company, which I think I was always perhaps aware of, but not to the great extent that I've seen it since we've been through this difficulty. Um, but also, I think it tells us something a lot about hospitality people, that really it's part of our makeup as hospitalitarians, if that's such a word,
Yeah.
to please people and to keep pleasing people. And when we can't, because those people are taken away from us, it leaves a big hole. And it leaves a whole great big hole in our personality. And it's been very interesting to see that, and to see how people really want to get on and keep doing things that please people. And I think coming out of that too is this need that these people who please people need appreciating. And so I think that's a big thing I'll take forward, is this wonderful spirit and commitment to the company, and our need to really nurture that, and to recognise it and to appreciate it. And I hope we do that anyway, but it's really underlined it for me, and I think we need to do that. Um, I think the other learning that I've already touched on really is just this importance of communication. We've always known it's important, but my God, has it been vital? And if we weren't communicating, we'd have 400 people who are the people who work for us, all drifting a different direction. But we're keeping everybody talking and keeping the teams alive and keeping the fun going, keeping the learning going. And this communication is so important. And I'm going to make sure that we keep it going at this level once we get busy again. And don't forget the importance of all these little communication. Some of the communication is all fun, some of it is silly, some of it is sending pictures of your pet dog, some of it is people doing planks in the garden. It actually doesn't matter. It's all bonding stuff, and I'm really determined that we will keep it going once we get busy again, which we will, I hope.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what's so great, like you said, it's different things. The different things appeal to different people, doesn't it? But I mean, I'm not just saying this, like you said, the loyalty that they have to the Calcot collection is phenomenal. And I think it's really shone. And, you know, all the times we try and make sure that people know we're an employer of choice, I think it's really come through now, because these are the times when you really can show that you are an employer of choice and you're taking care of people and you're really, really caring about them, which I just think is so, so great. And you know, you know, all the time we keep, shall we go for awards? Oh my goodness, this is where you realise absolutely, you know, it's an amazing company. So Richard, thank you for that, because I can see all the great things you're doing for everybody, and you really do care. So I think that's fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. I mean, once again, it's another cliche, but we do know we're all about people, and we're nothing without people. And so it's so important. And I'm grateful to you for all the help you've given us in developing that.
Thank you, Richard. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the experience will be like, won't it, when we go back to it all? You know, there's a little part of me thinks we'll all be so desperate to go to restaurants and stay in our beautiful hotels, and let's hope that will happen. And I was going to ask you about what you're doing at the moment, as far as, you know, like a bit of a reset, and about, you know, what are you able to do at the moment for when we do get back to whatever that looks like, and whenever it's, because obviously we still don't know when that will be.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of thinking going on about that, and everyone's reading and forecasting and looking into globes and whatever, and trying to work out how we'll be. It's definitely going to be very different. There's no doubt about that. And I think the other thing that's becoming clear is whereas we perhaps thought initially this was something we had to get through, I don't think it is. You know, this is a transition into a new world. The transition is painful, but we need to work out what that new world is going to be like, and we need to get on top of that quite soon. We're all waiting a little bit for the government to give us a steer, but I think it's shining through. It's all kind of showing through in black and white now that life is going to be different. I think restaurants will be very different. Um, I think the restaurants have always been about buzz and business, and I think, sadly, I think it'll be different. I don't think buzz and being busy and crowded and noisy will be what makes us comfortable in the future. I think things are going to have to be more about nurture and care and calm and kindness. So I think the nature of our restaurants will change, and certainly the capacities are going to have to reduce, and I think that's something that will sustain. So we need to work out how we can do that in a viable way. I can see that technology is going to rear its head. I think in the hospitality business, we've kept it at bay, thinking it was going to interfere with the personal touch. But I don't think we can do all the social distancing without it. And I think the public will expect it. So I think there will be much more technology around what we do and how we do things. And although the personal touch will still be important, it's going to have to be a distant personal touch. Service is going to have to be far more silent and efficient in the background and running smoothly, rather than in your face and close up. Fortunately, I don't think hospitality will die. Hospitality it's a critical part of our makeup. We all love to be virtually hugged, and nothing's going to stop that. That's still, thankfully, going to be essential in what we do. We're just going to have to find different ways of doing it, you know, from a distance. And you know, I'm sure we can do that. I'm sure there's a way this will reset, and I think provided we can adjust to the capacity issue, that's our biggest challenge, I think, is how we make our businesses work on lower capacities, and we're going to have to, provided we can adjust to that. I think we'll find a way through, and I've no doubt we'll come out of it, you know, strong and with a healthy industry. But we've got some big fences to climb to get there, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Richard. That's really, really great. I was going to ask you two more questions. First of all, what is it you really are looking forward to doing when we get
Uh,
are able to not just have our one exercise a day and go out for essentials? What is it you most will look forward to doing?
well, actually, on the first day of lockdown, I slipped a disc. So I'm normally a very keen cyclist, as you know, but I haven't been able to use it for for all that lovely cycling sector. So I'm desperately keen to get on top of that, so I get out on my bike. Um, Actually, I tell you what, I'm really missing our little hotel up in the northeast, Lord Cruans. It's in such a beautiful part of the world, and I'm missing that more than I knew. I'm really keen to get back up there and see all the guys and be part of all that up there. Um, Having done that, as you know, we have a little bolt hole in Mallorca, and Kathy and I are missing that dreadfully, and desperately keen to reset ourselves and get out there. So a combination of all those things. But I tell you, every morning and every night, um, I I'm just so grateful that we haven't personally been touched by this, and we're still well, and we haven't got this dreadful bug. And that's something we need to be very grateful for, because no matter what we're going through, and it feels tough, there's so much more misery out there, and you know, I just feel for all those people, and it helps keep us in perspective. Actually, whatever we think we're facing, it's nothing to what depth this bug is causing to some people. So we need to remember we're very lucky.
Thank you, Richard. So true. And of course, send a big hello to Kathy for me. So thank you,
Well,
and dearest Kathy. And so, final words. I really sort of just like to ask at the end of the Storm Pods, is there any particular things you'd like to say to our amazing industry out there? As you and I both know, we love the hospitality industry. We know that people are doing great things, aren't they, out there? And we know we will come back at some stage, whatever form that will be, like you say. So,
yeah.
any last words from you, please, Richard?
Yeah, stay strong. Remember the core. Remember hospitality. That's what it's all about. It's what we're so good at. And the world needs hospitality, as I've said. We all need it. We're great at providing it, and that will endure. And we might look slightly differently, and the sizes of our business might change. But these are be small changes. We're always going to be about hospitality and keeping people happy and giving them wonderful food, and that will endure forever. So we'll come through it, and we'll be strong.
Great. Rich, once again, thank you so, so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm really confident everybody will do this Storm Pod with you. So thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you, Fiona.